goo gone when you just need the goo to be gone. All right, hey everybody. We're still learning how to use this software, believe it or not. And it seems like I have gotten rid of the lag. We've reduced the data rate just a little bit. We had a duplicate audio capture going on too, so I'm thinking that might have had something to do with it. But if the stream starts acting up again, if I start to look like an old Chinese kung fu movie, where the audio is not quite synced up with what you see on the video, let me know. Or if you like watching old kung fu movies and you kind of like that effect, then by all means, don't let me know. I'll see it later. All right, so pick up where we left off. We're streaming. Sorry we didn't get to stream yesterday. It was my wife's birthday, and I spent some time helping her get her garden in order. Happy birthday to her. And then I didn't stream this morning because I was actually in the process of setting up my my 3D printer and getting that all tweaked and adjusted and dialed in. And I'm happy to say that it is dialed in. Actually, it's anybody that knows 3D printing, it's a Raise 3D N2 Plus, one generation back from their current lineup. And it's a great printer, but the bed leveling system was like a 13-point leveling system, and it was just a bear. You know, if for any reason it got out of whack from the factory leveling, it was quite an ordeal to get it back in shape. I tweaked it for 2 hours a couple days ago, and it was just wow. And then I came across this mod on the forums where it reduced it from a 13-point to a floating bed with a 5-point leveling system. And I got to tell you, I was able to level the bed literally in 60 seconds with this system. And it's printing amazingly well. So, pretty thrilled about that. All right. Everything seems to be flowing pretty good. Hopefully. And again, like I said, if it's not, let me know. All right, let's go ahead and share this out to our various groups. Bear with me here. So again, like I said, give me a minute here so we can send this out to our proper groups. So we're here in Chicago. Hopefully everybody is having a glorious Memorial Day weekend, and it's a little warm here, a little humid, but it is good because it's not 30 below, right? All right, give me 1 second here. Again, we're just doing our shares here so we can get this out to the groups that like to know that we're doing what we're doing, so they can join in the fun. Yep, there we go. Gotta get it out to those guys. And almost done here. Facebook will just cooperate with me. That would be awesome. Okay. Oh, gotta get it out to those guys. Almost done. Almost done. Just about. Come on. Come on. Okay. Facebook is doing its little dance here. How's the audio? Is it synced up this time? I know there's some issues earlier with the audio not being in sync. I do notice a little bit of lag here on my display, but I don't know if it's treating you guys badly or if it's just what I'm seeing here. So let me know. And all right. Well, I think that's probably enough. Is it looking good? Is the audio synced up? Or do I look like a bad kung fu movie? Anybody, let me know. All right. In any event, let's build some stuff. All right, to do that, we're going to switch cameras. Get that out of the way. Don't need that right now. So here's our parts. We're going to finish out our bear trap today. This baby right here. This bad boy. All right. There we go. We're going to glue some pieces on here. We're going to cut some other pieces out. And we're done. It'll be ready to wear for anybody who wants to wear a bear trap mask. This is actually my own personal mask here. So, all right, let's see where we leave off. All right, last time that we streamed, we did these bad boys here. We split these tubes, these EVA foam tubes open, and we put wires inside of them. Okay, we put some galvanized steel wire in it, so we can basically do whatever we want with these things. Make them any shape, any configuration that we want. This is not the shape that we want, so let's go ahead and straighten that back out. Okay, so those are ready. Don't need this. Put that in here. Let's see. We've got our lock. We've made our lock out of the foam and the wire through the foam tube technique. Did a little detail work there on the. Can't really see it, can you? Let's pull that light up where you can get a little better lighting. I tell you what, let's do this. Is that a little better? Not really? Okay. A little detail work. We took our Dremel tool and did a little recess with the cylinder in the end to create the tumbler. And then took our utility knife and cut a little slot in the end there and hit it with the heat gun to open it up, and that looks like we got a keyhole. This is all sanded and ready for prime, so we just need to make the bracket, which we've actually already created the base plate here, where that lock is going to live. Okay, and we don't usually have this, but here's the finished model of what we're building. For those of you who have not seen this before, this is the reverse bear trap from the Saw movie. This is painted and ready for our grunge wash. Need to put the clock face back there, and then we'll hit it with a matte clear to lock everything down, and this will be ready. This actually is not mine. This goes to a client, which we will ship this out on Tuesday, and this one's mine. So let's get this thing built, shall we? So what do we need to do next? All right, what we need to do next is we need to create little blocks here to receive our cable runs here, our cable tubes. We also need to Dremel out the brackets here to go over the top of our tubes. So we'll do that. And then we're going to drill holes throughout the top of this here to put these little cast bolt heads. They're cast out of epoxy resin. I used to make them out of foam, but that was a bit of a pain, so we created a mold and now we cast them in resin. And yeah, here's an example of those if you haven't seen them before. There you go. There's a bolt that is cast out of resin. Alright. Alright, so that is enough of that tomfoolery. Let's actually get to building stuff. By the way, just so you all know, if we get to it today, we are going to jump cameras here. We are going to be assembling the Mark IV that you see back here on the bench. All the pieces that we've made, all of our foam pieces. We're ready to start linking and attaching everything together on our duct tape dummy to actually build out the suit. So we will try to get to that today. If we don't, then I guarantee that we will do that on Thursday's live stream, Thursday evening. So that'll be inspiration if we don't get to it today for you to come back. We also probably Thursday as well. I will try to have it prepped ahead of time so you don't have to sit and watch me do it, but we are assembled. Hey Steve, sorry I didn't get back to you, bud. Tell you what, you got a minute we can talk after this stream? Can you stick around? Let's have a chat. We'll do a video chat, and you and I can connect on that piece that you want. Just say yes or no, and if it's no, then we'll reschedule. All right. So anyway, I will try to have this done before Thursday, definitely before Saturday. I'm going to saw this faceplate off, and the back part here, I'm going to show you how to put the magnets in to hold the back cowl piece on, and then the faceplate. We have actually finished our nylon hinges. Now, when you left me last time, shame on you guys, you left me. Sorry, that was terrible. I know. We were making these helmet faceplate hinges out of nylon because nylon's got a degree of flexibility but toughness to it, where we can animate our faceplate. Now, when I say animation, we can apply electronics and servos to it because there is a hole down here that'll let you do that. But we're not ready to do that yet because I haven't worked out all of the mechanics. We've got the electronics worked out. We've got all the lighting sequences and everything worked out. But the push rod and the servos failed us the last time. So probably need to look into moving the servos a little bit more directly in line with this action. Basically shortening the push rod is what we need to do. But I will show you where these hinges go on the faceplate in the helmet, so you can at least pull the helmet up manually. And these are the hinges again that we created to allow us to do that. And we'll be putting those in the helmet, and I'll show you where they go and how to put them in. And again, these were made out of nylon switch plate covers from Home Depot. Okay, so, and then we will be putting the eyes and the electronics to make the eyes and the switch and all that stuff in here as well. And there is our basic electronic setup for that with the switch and the eyes. And again, I'll review with you then the product that we actually got these from. So a lot is going to be happening this week for streaming for Thursday and Friday, or Thursday and Saturday. So you might want to come back. Just a thought. All right. On that note, let us continue on with our bear trap. And just again to remind everybody, we're not one. You know, I advertise this a lot and promote this a lot in different foam and EVA foam groups. But there's a lot of different methods and techniques that go into this. And anybody that's worked building cosplay items or props or costumes or whatever knows that there is no one silver bullet for everything. I mean, you could make everything out of foam, or you could make everything out of resin or 3D printing. I've actually had people ask me recently. They're like, well, what's better? What's better? Is it better to have a foam suit or a 3D printed suit? And there's pros and cons to each one. So we do a mix of disciplines here. We do casting, we do foam work, we use practical, found items at hardware stores. Like, for example, this is PVC with a flexible water faucet hose thingy that goes under your average sink. Go open the door under your kitchen sink, and you'll probably see one of these under there. So again, you know, a lot of different medias that we use here to get the job done, and it's really just whatever is the best tool or approach for each project, and that's what we advocate. There is no one hammer, you know, one tool fits all type of situation. So, all right. Let me get my Dremel, because we're gonna need it. And let's see where our battery is. Got a full charge. That's unusual. Glue gun. Let's heat that baby up. We'll bring it over. And yes, we did promote this out to the Ryobi group. So there is our Ryobi plug for all you Ryobi fans. I use a lot of Ryobi tools here: air compressors, glue guns, heat guns, power drills. I've got a rotary flex shaft rotary tool. Oh, by the way, we do have some new stuff that we're going to be working on. Pretty exciting stuff here. For my good friend Adam out of Texas with ATX Dark Creations, or Dark Creations ATX, out of I think Austin or San Marcos, Texas. Sorry, sorry, Adam. Anyway, we're going to be doing some cool stuff for him. We're going to be building a tacet. If you don't know what a tacet is, then you might want to show up, but it has to do with medieval armor. Pretty cool, pretty fun. Looking forward to that. And we've got some other stuff too that we're going to be working on with Adam. Actually, stuff we've already worked on with Adam. New page. All right, go check out the new page. All right, I will do it later, Steve, because I'm in build mode right now. But everybody else that wants to go check out Steve's new page, by all means, do that. But be sure to come back. All right, let's go ahead and create some indents in our brackets here. Just gonna use the Dremel. Take that sanding cylinder right into the foam, and that's what we get. I love the smell of burnt foam in the morning. Smells like cosplay. I forget how many of these things I need. I think I need a total of 7 of them. How many have I got? 2, 4, 6, 7. There we go. Alright. I like a nice clean work surface, so I'm just going to brush that into the garbage can there. Put that off to the side. Alright. I am currently using foam, Yaya Hans foam. It's got a good density to it, good shore hardness. Clocks in right at about 38. I also use foam by SKS, which is the Stephen K. Smith product that he is now selling through Blink online. The Yaya Han foam you can get from Joann's. One of the reasons I like Yaya Han's foam is not only for the shore hardness, but also for the color. I like using some of the dark colored foams for a lot of the stuff that I make. But Steve's foam, SKS Props foam, is good stuff too. I've used foam from TNT Cosplay, also good stuff. And we built this entire Mark IV back here behind me. Again, just a review on the bench here that we will be assembling later in the week. This is built entirely out of the Harbor Freight foam. 8 mil, it varies between 8 and 10 millimeter, just depends on the day, I guess. And the guy that was running quality control was asleep at the wheel, so it went from 8 to 10 or 10 to 8. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, but yeah, it's got a light texture on the back, which is, again, no big deal because that's on the inside. And if you like that texture, it comes in real handy on the outside. But this is the chest plate for our Mark IV. And as you can see, I have built over 30 Mark IV suits in the past 6 or 7 years, 7 years. And almost every single one of them was built using the Harbor Freight foam, and I've got no complaints. So again, the premium foam is cool if you can afford it. And you know, if you need something that has a little stiffer shore hardness to it, this is a little softer, has a little bit, it's a little easier to compress. but by no means is it a foam that is not a good foam to use. All right, so again, that's a question I get often. You know, what foam do I use? And I use all kinds of foam. And I use foam from Hobby Lobby and Michael's Crafts too, some of the thinner stuff. I actually used to use it exclusively, and then when I get, now when I'm in a pinch and I just need foam like right now, and I can't get to a Joann's Fabrics, then that's where I go. Hobby Lobby or Michael's. All right. So, all right. We got our brackets done. Let's jump right down here to the table. So we got our brackets done. We've got our pipes done. Now we just need to basically freehand some foam here for our mounting blocks. So I'm going to go ahead and just use this. Alrighty. Hey, this is an open forum, people. If you've got questions or comments, by all means, don't be afraid to ask. There's a lot of capable builders that join us for these little live streams. So if I miss the question, one of them might pick it up and answer it for me. So my point is, feel free to engage and ask questions or share information. Or if you see me about to do something that is really there's a better way to do it, let me know that too. I'm always open to learn. I'm just going to cut the corners off this because I don't want it to be just a straight block of foam. There's no interest, there's no mystery to it if it's just a straight square piece of foam. So I just cut the edges off, the corners off like that, just to make a kind of an octagonal shape. All right, so that'll go here, and then I'm going to create a slightly larger one here for the top. This is a very handy, I know a lot of people use markers and stuff to mark on foam, but I have found these white chalk pencils from Amazon, and these are amazing, especially on the darker colored foams. Actually, it'll work, it's pretty visible on almost every foam except for the SKS Props foam, which is already a very light gray in the first place. So alright, again, we're just going to cut off the corners here just to add that visual interest. And there we go. There we go. Alright, now we need to take our smaller Dremel cylinder, sanding cylinder here. These are great for sanding, but they're also great for creating little indents in your foam. Now you can do that for mounting purposes, which is what we're going to be doing this for. You can also do it for decorative purposes. Look at that, those little, let me see if you can get this up here. You can see that. You know what, let's just switch cameras. See these little indents here? There, you can see them. That was created with the small sanding cylinder. Just buzzing the end of it right into that, right into the foam. I'm trying to turn this the right way so you can see it. And that's the way we want to go, right? There we go. So, pretty nifty. It's got a little rivet, little pop rivet look to it. Okay, now, in this case though, we're going to go ahead and create, actually we're going to glue these on here first. I think our hot glue gun is probably ready to go. Alright, so we're going to glue this one on here. I'm just going to center it right up there. And again, I'm not too concerned about the hot glue being a little gloopy and gloppy on here, because this is supposed to look like it was welded together by someone who maybe was not a welding expert, but was an expert at building things that were designed to wreak havoc on the human body. If anybody has ever seen a Saw movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, so there's that one. Now let's drop some glue here across the top for the other block. Let's put a nice bead there, and then we'll, ow, 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 ow! He did it! He did it! Yay! If you're placing your bets. If you're placing your bets, he burned himself. Oh. Alright, let's try it again. That's hot. I know why they call it hot glue now. I mean, I've known it for a long time because it's not the first time I burnt myself. That was an accident too. I didn't actually like intentionally put my hand in it. I was just reaching. And so let this be a lesson to you that when you're reaching and doing things, watch where you're reaching. It can get you in trouble real quick. All right, so those of you who showed up to see how long it would take me to burn or cut myself, you can either stick around and wait for the next one, or you're free to go. Fortunately, the pain doesn't last very long. So, all right, this one here seems to be good. That will be good in a second. When it's cool and there's less chance of me like hurting myself, we're going to use our Dremel here and just buzz a hole in here to receive our wire injected foam tube to make our cable to go over to the other side. And you know what? Actually, before we do that, we're going to need to put a couple more pieces here on the side over here. So let's go ahead and get these marked out because I'm going to need a piece here and then a piece up here. So I'm just going to draw where our pipe indents here. And that is going to be a straight. All right. I'm going to use the bigger sanding cylinder on this one. Yes, this is the bear trap from movie saw. This is the one that we're working on, Mr. Dale. Okay, we're in the process of building, and then when we're done, this is what it looks like. This is the final piece. So, reverse bear trap, as it's called. All right, back to our table. So, let's see, we've got our indent there. And then we're going to round this out here a little bit. And if I remember correctly, that's straight here. We'll round this. And we've got our larger sanding cylinder attached. Oh, no kidding. Excellent. Mr. Dale, you should share with us a little bit more about your involvement with the Saw movies. That is exciting. There are other implements from that movie that I'd like to create, but commissions kind of dictate the traffic right now. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and cut into our piece here. Need a little more speed there. This foam's kind of thick. Okay. So the idea is to cut this semicircle here into our foam so it'll lay against the PVC nicely while the rest of it attaches to the foam headband underneath. Nice. Nice. Well, it's always nice to have crop royalty in our presence. Thank you for showing up. We do appreciate it. Alright, so just a little bit of rough shaping here. I'm going to hit this with a sanding block when we're done. We're just taking the corners off of this right now on the outside. Good deal. Well, you're in the right place then. Thank you again for showing up. And if you have any input or anything you want to share with us while I'm building, everybody else is watching me burn and cut myself. Wow, that's welting up a little bit there. I dropped hot glue on my hand here earlier. If you missed that. Whew. All right, so we're going to go ahead and switch over to our sanding bars now and see if we've got these down far enough where we can just manually bring this into the shape that we want. If not, we do have a couple of other grits on the sanding cylinders with our Dremel that we can use. So Brandon, I don't know if you know this or not, but we have a group attached to the Laughing Dragon Foundries page. It's called the Foam Club. If you want to skip over there and just request access to it, we'll let you right in. Anything that you're working on, by all means, or any wisdom you have to share on other people's builds that, of course, ask for input, by all means. We love people that contribute, so love to have you. Yeah, it's just a pain that continues, doesn't it? It still hurts. I probably should have iced it, but then I'd have to go away and, you know, the show must go on, as they say. All right, so there's this piece here, which is going to sit right here. All right. So we got a nice fit. This other piece that comes up here is a little bit more involved. I do have a template for that, so we'll get that cut out. I thought I had it cut out. Obviously, I don't. So we'll go ahead and take care of that here in just a second. I'm going to just hit this with the fine grit. This is about probably a 200 grit paper. These bars are actually originally for sanding airplanes. I used to do a lot of airplane modeling years ago. So they're nice and long, and they've got a handle built into them, so you can sand long areas, long stretches of foam, all in one application. The nice thing is when you're sanding with a bar like this, it keeps that surface consistent. See what I'm saying? I mean, I could sand here with just a piece of hand sandpaper, and then, you know, trying to eyeball it to see where it's high or where it's low. If you're using something like this, then, you know, as long as you keep that bar up against this piece here, you're guaranteed that, you know, for this length right here, it's going to be pretty much the same height. So you could probably 3D print something. These are actually by Great Plains. I'm pretty sure they're still in business. So if you want to just make a note of that name, it's the Great Plains Easy Touch Bar Sander. Now these are pretty old. These are 11-inch. I think they make them even bigger. But as you can see, they work very nicely. So, all right, and I've got coarse paper on this one, which is wearing off. I've got more paper over here, but yeah, there's still plenty of paper there. All right, oh, hand still hurts. Sorry. All right, let's see. Let's grab our contact cement because we will need that now. I'm gonna go ahead and mark where this baby falls. And the reason we're putting these on first is because these cable tubes here drill into, one of them drills into here, and then the other one drills into this under here. So I want to go ahead and at least get this one mounted before we start attaching those cable tubes. So I just marked where that falls. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and hit it with our contact cement on both surfaces. You bet, Mr. Dale. That's why we're here. I always say we're here to help everybody be the best builder they can. And sometimes that's technique, sometimes it's tools, sometimes it's alcohol, but that's a different subject entirely. Alright. Remember, folks, contact cement's got to be on both surfaces in order to work. Which detail is that, sir? bit different than original. Yeah. I'll set that aside to dry. Which detail are you speaking of? Yes, patience is definitely definitely a virtue when it comes to building this stuff. Feeding of the tubing? You mean running the wire in the center, or just the fact that it goes where it goes? And I need a paper towel here. Oh yeah, no. See, okay. Well, whatever you're referring to as far as the feeding of the tubing, I developed these templates that I developed are actually my own, based on sketches that I did from the reference photos that I could find from the original movie prop. So there are a couple of pieces on here that I from the movie prop that I didn't put on here. Actually, I may put them on this one because this one's for me. The other, and they're kind of pieces that, if they got caught on things, could probably pull off or tear off easily. So that's the reason I didn't put them in the regular build piece. So just a couple of knobs really on the front. But yeah, for the most part, this is pretty movie accurate, at least in in presentation, because that's just kind of the builder I am. And I don't hold it against anyone, but I've seen some builds where people do builds, and I'm just like, oh man, you miss some details that are so important. That really, it's one thing if you invented the prop yourself. Just for a second, I'm waiting for that to dry. It's one thing if you invented the prop or you designed the prop yourself, then you have intimate knowledge of where everything goes. If you didn't, then you got to take that extra bit of time and really look at something and say, okay, where am I missing the details, and maybe have someone else look at it and give you some critique or some feedback on it. Because man, I'll tell you, at least for me, when I show up somewhere and I see a prop or a suit or something that someone's created, and they pay attention to those small details, and you're like, oh man, they even took the time to do that. And you're just like, oh, for me, it makes it. It just really takes it that extra mile. Fortunately, it's not the artists and the peers that we're always doing this stuff for. It's the fans. But even fans. Yeah, right. When it comes to replicas, exactly. So I just think and you could argue, say, you know what, if you look vaguely like Iron Man, and then people are going to be like, oh, it's Iron Man, and they're happy, and that is true. But for the percentage of fans that are the detail people, that notice if something is the wrong color, or you have a panel line that's not there, or you know what I mean, then it's like, you just want to be sure that you nail it for them. You know what I mean? Because you're there for everybody. You're not there just for one particular group of people. I just the more real I can make this, where somebody sees this from a distance, and they're like, oh my God, it's the bear trap, and then they get closer and like, wait, what's this made out of? Oh, wow. That's, and then I told them, it's foam. It's like, oh my God, it looks like metal, or you even remembered to put this in, or whatever, kind of what you're talking about as far as the details go. And that's always just kind of the thing that pushes it to the next level for me. And I'm like, yeah, I nailed it, and I nailed it for that guy. Even though everybody else is happy, and that's cool too. They're just glad that the bear trap mask or whatever it is that they're seeing is there. There's that one guy that's like, thanks for the details. So you made him happy too. And then there's some people you can't make happy no matter what. So, All right, let's see. All right, these are dry, or cooled, I should say. So let's jump in here. And we're going to go ahead and put our mounting holes into these blocks. So we're just going to go in about 1/8 of an inch. Doesn't need to be very far on both of them. Okay. Just stop just before you catch things on fire. All right, so you can see there, we've got our our holes are recessed into our mounting blocks. And I take that back. This cable here, just look at my reference piece here. This cable here actually plugs into the piece that goes into the top up here. So we're gonna have to cut that piece first. In the meantime, we've already got this one cut, so let's just put it in place. And there we go. Lock it down. Okay. And there's that. All right. Now, let me grab my templates really quick because we need to cut a couple more pieces of foam. I don't know if this is big enough, but I think it might be. Got a couple of scraps here. All right, I'm going to show you my top secret templates here. Woo! Oh no. And hopefully the template that I'm looking for is actually in here. Oh, there it is. Yay! And that piece of foam is barely big enough, but that one's not. All right, got to go over to our scrap bin. So, give me a moment, and I will go get some more scrap. Wait, actually, you know what? I think I have it right here. Yes, we do. How about that? That's a nice big piece of scrap. All right. White chalk pencil. Template. Foam. Engage. Alright, boom. And you know what? I actually need a little reference hole here. So I'm just going to freehand this in here. And there's where that cuts out. And I just realized, you know what I could do? I could just go ahead and cut this out and make it easier the next time. All right, let's cut another piece. We'll go along the edge here. That takes care of one of our edges for us. Okay. All right, so there's that. Yes, Brad. Oh man, I totally forgot. Oop, and I forgot to cut in my piece here. Yes. You know what? Let's, you got time to chat later in the week? Maybe a phone call? I don't know. Do I have your phone number? Tell you what, send me a message here. Send me your phone number. Send me a phone number here on, send me your phone number through Messenger here on Facebook, and I'll give you a buzz. I'll give you a buzz later in the week. We'll work out the details, because that would be awesome. Brad here is offering to make me one of these. Oh, great. Well, thanks for stopping by, Mr. Dale. Again, like I said, you know, join us, follow us, like us, join us, take part in the conversation. Always looking to connect with people that do this, because this is just a lot of fun. And like I said, the fact that you worked on the set of this movie adds even more awesomeness to the conversation. So, cool. All right, take care. Thanks for showing up. So Mr. Dahl here, as I was beginning to say, has offered to actually build one of these babies out of metal. So we're going to work together on this and see what we can come up with. All right. So, Brad, what are you thinking in terms of time on this? How long do you think it'll take you to build something based on what you've seen? By the way, everyone, we're cutting 2 pieces of this because we need to laminate it to make it thick enough. There we go. All right. Let's go ahead and grab our contact cement and laminate it. Whoop. See, Brad, now you're making me think that maybe we should make this functional. And I'm kidding, of course. Although I did have someone ask me on YouTube, one of my YouTube comments was whether or not it worked. And I was like, no, don't ask that question again, because you're scaring me. All right, as soon as this dries, we will laminate those together. And you know what, actually, yeah, we can go ahead and get this tube attached. So this one runs from here along the back and then plugs in down here. So let's go ahead and drill the hole for that. So again, I'm going to drill a mounting hole. I'm going to drill a mounting hole right about here at a bit of an angle because the tube is going to come in at an angle. Nothing too dramatic, but just enough to let it sit in there at an angle. I don't know if you can see that or not. Probably can't. But you'll see it once we get it installed. Yeah, let's steer away from the functional part, at least on the first one. That falls into the wrong hands, we're making trouble for ourselves. All right, so I'm now, because I've got this wire, again, sticking out of the end of our foam tube, we're going to use that wire to kind of anchor this in place. So I'm going to push that through there. That sits right in there like that. See that? Okay. Now, based on our reference model, which is the one that I've done before, I'm just going to kind of wrap this around here, curve it toward the okay. All right. No name calling. All right. So that's kind of the look that we're looking for. All right. It's just kind of an organic curve coming off of that piece. And then I'm going to take it down here. It kind of comes away from the headband if you look at the original. All right. And then plugs in down here. So that's about how long that is. I'm going to go ahead and use my knife here and cut the foam first where I want the tube to end, and then I'm going to cut a section out of the center between past the end of the tube to get rid of the foam. And then we'll just peel this foam off of the wire like that. And then using my handy dandy wire cutters here, we'll cut the wire. And now I'm going to shove this into this block down here as well. And then basically, that's the look that we're going for. So again, down here on the side, it plugs in here, kind of comes off of the back a little bit, doesn't attach to the back. It does attach up here, and then attaches over there. All right? And we're going to use hot glue to hold everything in, because again, hot glue gives us kind of that welded look. So I'm just going to drop a good bit of hot glue in this hole here. And then I'm going to plug in our wire piece once more. And just go far enough in where the glue kind of starts to come out around the edge. And we'll hold it in place. Actually, we've got a lot of glue here on the back. I'm going to clean off some of that. And again, I use hot glue for the attaching some of these things, because it gives kind of a faux welded joint look. So like here along the back, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a bead of hot glue actually across the back of this headband. Alright, just a nice little bead right there. And then we'll put this cable on top of that. And there you can see the glue is kind of oozing up a little bit, which creates, again, kind of a sloppy looking weld joint. Kind of like if I actually tried to weld for real. It's probably what it would look like. Actually, I've seen some sloppy weld joints. If that was a weld joint that looked like that, that would actually be fairly clean. Alright, so I'm going to hold this until this cools, and then we'll attach the other end. I think we'll come up here and put a little more hot glue on the top here, because I want this weld joint to actually look a little sloppier. And it's almost there. Yep. Alright, let's drop some glue down here. And there we go. Same thing, we'll hold it there until it cools. And I'm looking at our two pieces over here that we cut earlier. It looks like they are ready to stick together. So we'll go ahead and do that next, as soon as this glue cools. Actually, next is our sloppy weld joint up here. So I'm just going to do a little bead of glue across the top and kind of put a little random bumps in it, which again right now looks like hot glue with bumps on it. But then when you paint this stuff with our aged rust paint, it actually looks like weld joints. Pretty nifty. All right, let's go ahead while we're waiting for that to cool and laminate these babies together. Okay, like so. All right, I know we want these. Well, I'm going to actually, before that, I'm going to check and make sure we've got the proper angle and placement. And we do. So I know we want to round this edge and this edge, or this corner, I should say. We're going to flatten this edge over here, apply a little bit of rounding here, and around the whole thing and level it all out. And then we are going to cut an angle on this piece here. to the tune of probably about a 20-degree angle. Actually, the angle only needs to be on the back part. It's a good thing I got my reference over here. So we'll X that out. This gets a rounded corner here as well. There we go. All right. So let's start with the rounded corner. I'm just going to go ahead and cut off the corner. Okay, that gets us started in the right direction. Alright, and then my knife is feeling a little dull. Let's go ahead and give that a good sharpen. Okay, actually this, I need to lose this corner here. Alright. And now I'm going to slice this edge here at a slight angle. Don't worry if you don't get it exactly exact, because we are going to clean it up. I think I may need to change this blade. It has lived out a full productive life. And it's time to move on. Alright. Now we use our Dremel and our sanding bar to go ahead and provide this a little bit of a cleaner angle, and then round those corners off. So let's grab our Dremel and our larger sanding cylinder. Like so. And here we go. Got some high spots here. I'm going to go ahead and clean those up. Alright, there's that one. Okay. Oh, gotta clean our angled side up just a little bit here. That looks pretty good. Let's grab our sanding bar. That part will be actually glued to the headband, so we don't need to make it too pretty. Alrighty. Round the edges just a little bit here, in addition to rounding off our corners. And remember, it's tempting to rush the sanding process, or the surface finishing process, I should say, but here's the bottom line. the better your surface looks now, paint is only going to magnify every imperfection in your surface 10 times. So if you can see something before you apply paint to it, get that sanding block or bar or a piece of paper, whatever you're using, out and use it. Because when you apply the paint, usually you're at the stage of the project where you don't have a whole lot of time left, and there's usually very little time to go back and fix things or re-sand them. So do it right the first time, that's what I say. Alright, so there is our piece that is going to fit right here. Actually it comes right down here and provides our secondary mounting point for our other cable. Alright, so let's go ahead and mark where this falls, and it actually falls across two of my detail rivets. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a couple more detail rivets in there and show you how we do it. Small sanding cylinder, Dremel tool of any persuasion, and watch this. There we go. A couple of fresh rivets. I'm going to throw one up there, just for good measure. Alright. Alrighty. We are approaching the finish line here, people. Pretty exciting. Alright, so we need to apply some contact cement. Actually, I think this needs to be a little bit more of an angle now that I look at it. Let's go ahead and do that. I want that to sit level, and it's got a little bit of an angle pointing upward. So we're just going to go ahead and take off a little more here at the bottom. Like so. Alright. And that looks to be a lot better of the angle that we were looking for. Let's move on to the glue. Because glue is what we need to make this stick together. Alright, there's the glue there. And of course, because it's contact cement, we will go ahead and put glue over here. Alright. And there's that. Now, while we're waiting for that to dry, let's go ahead and start mounting the cable. And running it across the top. So first thing we're going to do is mount it in the hole where it attaches on our block. Ooh, I put my elbow on the hot glue gun. That's a new one. Alright, so that sticks right in there. Alright, got a little bit of glue poking up around the edges, but that's okay. Again, looks like a shoddy weld joint. Just let that cool down here for a second. Alright. That seems to be cooled at least enough. Now, this cable lays across the top of our mask, kind of comes out like this, and then doubles back. Looking at my reference piece here, so it comes back here and lays down against the mask right about there. Follows this line here. Alright. And remember, we have wire in the middle of this foam, so we can pretty much bend it to any shape that we want, and it will hold that shape without putting a lot of stress on the rest of our creation, which is part of the reason why we do it this way. Alright, this comes back along over here, and then eventually it will kind of buck out here from that point and drill itself right into the piece that mounts here. Alright, so with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and put a bracket here. So I've got the brackets already cut out. We're just going to hit it with a little bit of glue on either side and nail it down, favoring the back, because we have bolt heads that we still need to put in here as well. Alright, so we're just going to nail that down there with one of our brackets. You can see it's under my thumb, I'm just holding it in there. And I'm not actually gluing this cable down, I'm going to let it float loose in there, because that, in my opinion, adds to the realism a little bit. So yeah, that's why we're doing it that way. Alright. That seems to be... Oh, nope, too soon. That's what happens when you get in a hurry. Alright, so we'll wait that out, let it cool. How's our glue doing here? Almost dry, so we're just about ready to attach that piece. Waiting. This is always the hardest part of building this stuff, is waiting for glue to dry or cool. Again, anybody that knows me knows that I like to have a number of pieces in progress so we can move rapidly from one stage to the next. But sometimes you just gotta wait it out, which is what we're doing now. Just waiting it out. Alright, that one's in there. So I'm going to put our next bracket, and we only want the good looking brackets. That one's going to sit right here in the middle. So let's grab some more glue. It doesn't go in the middle, right? Actually, it doesn't. It goes off center because the bolt goes in the middle. Alright, there's our glue / weld joint. We're going to put this one over here because, again, our bolt will go right here. And one goes right there, and one goes right there, and one goes right there. So is everybody having good weather for Memorial Day weekend here? We got any cookouts planned? I think I'm going to do a little steak grilling tomorrow. If the weather holds out. It's supposed to. We're here in Chicago. It's rather hot and humid here today. My understanding is it's not supposed to be quite so hot, but the humidity should probably be about the same tomorrow. Which kind of sucks because I do have some painting I need to do desperately. So yeah, there's that. Gotta love that humidity. Alright. It could be worse. It could be cold and humid. That's always a plus. Alright. that one looks good. I think this one is fairly solid. Let's go ahead and move on to our next bracket, which we're going to put right here. Again, same drill. A little bit of glue. Put that one right there. No, I desperately have some painting to do. I'm pretty good at painting so far, at least as far as I need it to be. I have some projects that actually need to be finished and sent out as soon as possible, and painting is the next stage for a couple of them. So yeah. Alright. So that is our last bracket for the top. We have a couple more that we need to do. Actually, I thought, let me check my reference model here. Yeah, I think we have, yeah, only 3 across the top. So we've got that. Alright, that's looking good. Alright, those are looking pretty solid. So let's go ahead and move on back over to this piece here, which becomes the mounting block for our second cable. So I'm going to go ahead and just open this up, because we are gluing around a round piece of pipe that we could inadvertently glue prematurely. So I'm going to pull this end open here toward the front, and then lay it in the corner against the edge, and then finally up against the pipe here, trying to keep everything level, like so. Push that down, make sure we got a good join. Alright, and then I'm going to hit this with the hot glue here on top to again simulate that weld joint that we've been kind of carrying everywhere else as well. So just a bead across the top. And around our pipe here. This will also help with stabilizing this piece. The piece of plumbing pipe, PVC running up the side. Every little bit helps. Actually, I'm going to put a weld joint in here as well on the piece that we put in earlier. And there we go. Now when that cools down, we'll go ahead and drill our mounting point for this cable, and that will finish up the cables. And then pretty much all that's left is to attach our lock, our fake padlock on the back. Alright, I'm going to get this cable prepped to be at the proper angle. Oh, I'm sorry, we still have to put the bolt heads in. And then we're just going to kind of make this pop up a little bit. And that is where it will attach. So, if I keep it from moving on me here, this is where we're going to cut it. Again, we're going to cut a section of the foam tube here away from away from our initial cut, because that will expose the wire that we're going to use to actually stick into the foam block. Take our Dremel, attach the small cylinder, which we use to create our indent, right here on the top. Alright, just going to do a quick test fit to make sure that's where I want it. And it is. And everything else is lining up nicely. So, let's go ahead and put some glue in there and make it permanent. Get rid of the hot glue spider webbing. Cable's got good shape. I'm going to tweak this in just a little bit to help hold that caliper in the proper attitude. Alright, once this sets, we're going to go ahead, actually while I'm waiting, and I'm going to create reference points where we're going to drop our bolt heads. So one there, here, and there. And that should do it. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I'm going to put one here too. Alright, we're good there. Let's grab our Dremel and make 5 holes in our headband. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once again, clean it off a little bit there. A little spot of hot glue, just to hold them in place. Alright, I can hold this with one finger. Let's go ahead and pop another one up here, and I can hold that in with my other hand. Get 2 for 1 here. Yes, sticking your tongue out does help. So, if you haven't mastered that technique, I highly recommend that you practice. Alright, that one's in place. This one's doing pretty good, so let's go ahead and hit some glue in this indent here. Pop a bolt head in there. Alright, that one seems to be good. So I finish holding that one down with my thumb. Move on to this one here. A little bit of glue in the indent. And another bolt head. That one's done. Fortunately, the other one's on the other. Well, we might be able to flip it over here while I hold the other one. Yeah, I think we'll be all right. A little bit of glue in this indent here. Hold that down. I think this one here is good. I'll get rid of this glue string here so I don't miss it later when I'm painting. Alright, I'm going to hold this in with this hand while we go back here. Alright, so I need 2 of these brackets here for the back for our lock, our padlock bracket. So let's use these 2 here, I think. Flip it over and see what we got. No, it's kind of small. There we go. That's a good one. Alright, so I'm just going to take hot glue here. This is our lock mounting plate back here. We're just going to hold these together and then apply a little hot glue here. And then glue them to our plate. Got a little bit of a gap there, you can see. I'm going to go ahead and just leave that in there because, again, it adds to the illusion that this is not a precision device. Anybody that's seen the movies knows that this guy just, I mean, he was brilliant as far as coming up with these ideas and these devices of torture and terror, but he was not a precision craftsman. The idea was that he built these things to accomplish an objective. So the rough assembly or the rough nature of the final product, weld joints, you know, misaligned surfaces and things like that, actually adds a little bit of mystery and uniqueness to the finished product. I am going to use hot glue here. Some people like to use the googly eyes, craft eyes for rivets. I actually like to make them out of hot glue. Just a quick little dot. There's one. There's 2. Just a little bump. There's 3. And there's 4. There we go. So it could stand to be a smidge bigger. Let's go ahead and put more glue on top of it. Don't worry about the strings. We'll clean those up later. But there you go. So you've got your block plate, and then your little brackets here. And then, of course, it wouldn't be complete if we didn't have our faked padlock, which again is a piece of foam tube with the wire going through it, and a piece of shaped foam to look like a lock. Just going to thread that through there. We will take this, I'm not going to glue this now, we're just going to put it on here temporarily because we do want to be able to take it apart to paint it and then glue it in place when the paint has dried. I used to glue it on here permanently and then paint it afterwards, and that was a mistake. See? We learn as we go. Alright, and there, that completes our fake block setup. Hopefully you can see that. So, alright, so let's do a quick review here. Aside from the glue strings, we've got all of our bolt heads in place. We've got our caliper on the side there, our gears, our fake lock, our timer, which is minus its face, but that gets glued in once the painting is finished. And then whatever this thing is, I'm not sure, doesn't matter. I'm going to call this the battery pack to make everything run, the timer and all of that. Of course, the gears, and then the business end of the mask, which is the jaws of death. Woo-hoo. And that pretty much wraps it up. So we have finished another bear trap. Pretty exciting. Next stop will be plasti dip and then paint to finish this baby out. And this one is for me. There we go. Ta-da! This is my good side? Or is this my good side? I don't know. So there we go. So again, once we plasti dip and paint it, that will be the finished product. That's how it looks. This is prior to our grunge wash, which is next. Yeah, so there's the before the paint, and there's the after the paint. Questions? There will be a test, so study hard. I'm kidding, of course. All right. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of today's stream. I know this time is so fleeting that we have to spend together and make things, talk about things. As always, like, subscribe, follow, be a fan, share, join. Obviously, you can follow and be a fan of Laughing Dragon Foundries. We also have a group. Laughing Dragon Foundries is kind of where we show off what we're doing, obviously the source of these live streams as well. Foam Club, which is the group attached to Laughing Dragon Foundries, is where we want you to show off what you're doing. So, you know, we heartily recommend and welcome all of you to join Foam Club, where you can, if you decide to build one of these babies, you can show it off and you know, get comments, critique, adulation, feedback, whatever it is that you're looking for. And yeah, so there you go. Next stream will be Thursday night, or Thursday 6 to 8 Chicago time, Central Time, U.S. Central Time, for those of you looking at our stream from around the world. We're on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, of course. We have a pinned post on the Laughing Dragon Foundries homepage, or Facebook page, that tells you where we're at and what times and all that. But Thursday night will be our next stream. We will be spending time doing some final assembly on our Mark IV and working on the helmet, electronics, faceplate, magnets, building the repulsors for gauntlets, and getting this baby ready for paint, as well as showing you a Mark IV that we're currently working on and painting to get out the door, as well as painting this one. That won't all happen on Thursday, but it will be a collection of those things, or some of those things, depending on what I get done between now and then. So, as always, this is James with Laughing Dragon Foundries. Thank you so much for showing up. I do see you, Mr. Jordan. I will hit you up after this. As always, keep your glue hot. Don't burn yourself like I did earlier. But keep your glue hot and your hopes high. And we will see you next time. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy. We'll talk soon.